I stood at the gate in Dallas, just 3 weeks ago, watching a woman. She had to be about 70, well-dressed, clearly a seasoned traveler, sobbing. I mean, full and shaking, tears streaming down her face. She wasn't crying because she missed her flight. She was standing right in front of the open jet bridge. She was crying because the gate agent had just shredded her boarding pass and told her she was a security liability. Her crime. She didn't have the new biometric app installed on her phone, and she got confused when the facial recognition kiosk failed to scan her face 3 times. The agent, overworked and underpaid, flagged her as non-compliant and mentally unfit for unescorted travel. Just like that, vacation over. Thousands of dollars down the drain. I've been flying for 15 years. I've seen drunk passengers taped to seats. I've seen engines catch fire, and I've delivered a baby over the Atlantic. But nothing scares me more than what airlines are quietly rolling out for 2026. If you are over 65, the golden age of just show up and fly is officially dead. My name is Benny. I've spent a decade and a half wearing the wings, pouring your coffee, and guarding your safety at 35,000 feet. But today, I'm taking the uniform off. I'm going to tell you the truth about the new airport rules coming down the pipeline for 2026. Rules that disproportionately target older travelers. These aren't just policy updates, they are traps. And if you don't know how to navigate them, you aren't just risking a delay, you're risking a lifetime ban. Let's get right into the belly of the beast. The first major shift is something we in the galley call the digital iron curtain. You might have noticed fewer agents at the counters, right? That's not an accident. By 2026, major carriers are pushing for a 100% biometric terminal experience in major hubs. Here is the secret they won't tell you. The algorithms driving these facial recognition cameras are calibrated on datasets that struggle with aging faces, deep wrinkles, cataracts, or even the way your skin loses elasticity can cause false negatives at the gates. I saw a gentleman in Miami last month. He had valid ID, valid ticket. But the machine couldn't match his face to his passport photo, which was taken 9 years ago. The machine locked him out. In the past, a human would look at him, look at the photo, smile, and say, "Go ahead, sir." Not anymore. The new policy instructions we are seeing emphasize system autonomy. If the machine says no, the agent is instructed to treat it as a potential security threat first, and a glitch second. So how do you beat this? You need to refresh your digital identity. If your passport photo is more than 7 years old, even if it's technically valid, get a new one. Update the photo, and when you approach those biometric scanners, take off your glasses, stop smiling, and hold completely still. If it fails twice, do not. I repeat, do not. Keep trying. Step back and immediately wave for a human supervisor. If you try a 4th time and fail, the system can auto-lock your reservation. It's a nightmare to undo. Now, let's talk about the unspoken war on mobility. This one makes my blood boil. You know the drill. You request wheelchair assistance. You think you're safe. But have you noticed how long you're waiting lately? Here is the insider reality. Airlines have outsourced wheelchair services to the lowest bidder. These aren't airline employees anymore. They are third-party contractors earning minimum wage, often responsible for pushing 3 or 4 passengers across different terminals simultaneously. The new efficiency metrics, hitting the industry in late 2025 and moving into 2026, are brutal. These contractors are penalized if they aren't back at the staging area within a certain window. This has led to a terrifying trend called dump and run. We had a flight land in Chicago during a storm. A contractor wheeled a lovely 80-year-old lady off the jet bridge, parked her near the food court, because he had to run and catch another job, and promised he'd be right back. He didn't come back. She sat there for 4 hours. She missed her connection. She didn't have the strength to push herself, and because she wasn't technically lost, no one looked for her. The new rule for you: Never rely solely on the airline's dispatch system. If you or your travel companion needs a wheelchair, you need to play a psychological game with the staff. Do not let the pusher leave you at a generic gate area. You tell them, polite but firm, "I need to be taken to the ticket counter," or the gate agent's podium. You want to be dropped off in front of a uniformed airline employee, not an empty row of seats. And here is a pro tip that saves lives: tip the pusher up front. I know, you shouldn't have to, it's wrong. But $5 creates a social contract. It makes you a person, not a task. Look them in the eye, ask for their name. "What is your name, David?" "Okay, David, I am counting on you." It sounds intense, but when the system breaks down, that human connection is the only thing that gets you to your grandson's wedding. Speaking of getting to the wedding, we need to talk about your luggage. Specifically, what you put inside it. If you take nothing else away from this video, listen to this: the lithium crackdown is coming, and it is going to catch millions of seniors off guard. You probably travel with more electronics than you think: hearing aid charging cases, portable oxygen concentrators, POCs, CPAP battery packs, maybe a power bank for your iPad. All of these run on lithium-ion batteries. Starting in 2026, the safety protocols regarding thermal runaway, that's when a battery overheats and catches fire, are getting stricter. We are being trained to be aggressively vigilant about this. Here is the scenario: you are at the gate. The flight is full. They say, "We need to check your carry-on bag." You, being a nice person, say, "Sure," and you hand it over. Stop. You just made a critical error. If that bag goes into the cargo hold with your spare lithium batteries, or your e-cigarette, or your charging case inside, and we find out, we don't just pull the bag, we can pull you. It's considered a hazardous materials violation. I had a passenger, a sweet old guy, who checked his bag with a spare CPAP battery inside. We didn't catch it until the rampers saw the medical device tag and double-checked. They pulled the bag, the plane left without it. He arrived in Phoenix. His breathing machine arrived in... well, actually, it stayed in Newark. The new rule for 2026: you need a tech pouch. Every single battery-operated item you own needs to be in one singular grab-and-go bag inside your carry-on. The moment they ask to check your luggage, you rip that pouch out. You don't fumble, you don't search. You remove the hazard, it shows the gate agent you are a pro. It signals, "I know the rules better than you do." While we are on the topic of medical issues, let's address the Fit to Fly assessment. This is the silent killer of vacations. Post-2020, gate agents and flight attendants have been deputized as informal medical screeners. The pressure on us to divert flights for medical emergencies is huge. A diversion costs the airline anywhere from $10,000 to $200,000. They hate diversions, so they are training us to spot risks on the ground and stop them from boarding. Who looks like a risk? Unfortunately, if you are over 65 and you look exhausted, confused, or unsteady, you are a target. I saw a woman denied boarding last month because she was slumped over in the boarding area, eyes closed. She wasn't sick, she was just tired. She had been traveling for 12 hours. But the agent saw unresponsive, lethargic, and initiated a medical denial. Once that medical clearance is requested, you are not getting on that plane until a ground medical contractor clears you. That takes hours. You will miss the flight. Here is the strategy. When you are in the boarding area, you are on stage. I know your joints hurt, I know you're exhausted, but when that boarding call starts, you need to turn it on. Stand up straight. If you are traveling with a partner, don't let them drag you. Walk side by side. If you use a cane, use it confidently, and for the love of everything holy, do not joke about your health. Do not say to the flight attendant greeting you at the door, "Oh, I hope my heart holds out for this flight." We are legally required to take that seriously. I have to ask you follow-up questions. I have to assess you. If I have any doubt, I have to deplane you. Keep the jokes about the weather. Keep your medical history between you and your doctor unless you actually need help. This brings me to a massive shift in how you buy your tickets. If you've been watching this channel, you know I'm all about saving money. But I'm going to tell you something that hurts. Basic economy is a trap for anyone over 65. In 2026, the segmentation of fares is getting sharper. Basic economy isn't just about no luggage, it's about being last. Last to board means no overhead bin space. That means checking your bag. Remember the lithium battery risk? But it's worse. The unassigned seating roulette is dangerous for seniors. If you end up in a middle seat in the back row, the row that doesn't recline, right next to the lavatory, you are putting yourself at risk for deep vein thrombosis, DVT. The pitch, the space between seats in the back of the bus is shrinking. I'm seeing legroom in the last 5 rows of newer aircraft configurations that is barely 28 inches. If you have stiff knees, hip replacements, or circulation issues, sitting there for 4 hours isn't uncomfortable. It's medically dangerous. The airlines know this. They are banking on your physical discomfort to upsell you. It's predatory, and I hate it. But you have to protect yourself. If you can't afford first class, and who can? You must budget for main cabin extra, or whatever your airline calls the seats with 3 extra inches. It's not a luxury tax, it's a health tax. Pay it. Your body will thank you when you land. Before I get to the most controversial unwritten rule, that is banning people left and right, I want to take a second. If you are finding this insider info helpful, if you want to know how to beat the airlines at their own game and fly with dignity, hit that subscribe button. I'm tired of seeing good people get treated like cargo. Join our crew here, and I'll keep leaking the info they don't want you to know. Okay, let's talk about the behavioral score. You won't find this on the FAA website, but every major airline now tracks non-compliant interactions. In the old days, if you got into an argument with a gate agent about a bag fee, you paid the fee, you grumbled, and you got on the plane. Today, that agent can add a remark to your PNR passenger name record. If you have a history of being difficult, and by difficult, they sometimes just mean you assert your rights loudly, you can be flagged for SSS on your boarding pass. Secondary security screening selection. That means every time you fly, you get pulled aside, every bag opened, every device swabbed, full pat-downs. It is exhausting. It is humiliating. And it delays you by 45 minutes. The new rule for 2026 is actually a shift in your demeanor. You need to be the anti-Karen. When things go wrong, and they will, you must remain terrifyingly calm. The moment you raise your voice, you lose. The moment you point a finger, you lose. The airline employees are at a breaking point too. They are looking for reasons to say no, because no is safer than yes. I watched a man scream at a gate agent in Denver because the flight was delayed for weather. He wasn't wrong to be upset. He was missing a cruise departure. But he slammed his hand on the counter. Security was called. He didn't just miss that flight. He was placed on the airline's internal do not transport list pending an investigation. He is banned from that airline for slamming his hand on a counter. The threshold for disruptive behavior has been lowered to the floor. Your strategy? Kill them with kindness. I know this isn't your fault, but I really need your help. That sentence is a magic key. It disarms the agent. It puts you and them on the same team against the problem, rather than you against them. Now, let's talk about the documentation cliff coming in mid-2025 and solidifying in 2026. You've heard about Real ID for years. They kept delaying it. You probably ignored it. Stop ignoring it. The delays are over. If you are traveling domestically in the US, your old driver's license will not get you through TSA, period. I don't care if you've lived in the same house for 50 years. If you don't have that gold star in the corner of your license, you are turning around and going home. But here is the trickier part for international travelers. The 6-month rule is being enforced with zero tolerance. Many countries require your passport to be valid for 6 months beyond your date of planned return. In the past, airlines might let you slide if it was close. Or they wouldn't notice. New automated check-in systems. Remember the digital iron curtain? Calculate the dates instantly. If your passport expires 5 months and 29 days after your return flight, the computer will not issue a boarding pass. The human agent cannot override this. Go check your passport right now, not later. Now, if it expires any time in 2026, renew it immediately. Processing times are going to skyrocket again as everyone realizes the rules have tightened. Let's pivot to something positive, a loophole that is actually getting better for seniors, but nobody uses it. It's called gait checking for assistive devices. Most people know you can gate-check a stroller or a wheelchair. But did you know this applies to a wide range of supportive gear? Walkers, canes, and even certain orthopedic seat cushions can be brought on board or gate-checked for free. If you have a bad back, do not suffer in silence. Bring your specialized cushion. If the flight attendant says, "That counts as a personal item," you politely say, "This is an orthopedic assistive device." By law, medical assistive devices do not count against your carry-on limit, but you have to use the magic words. Comfort item equals personal item, counts against allowance. Assistive device equals medical necessity, free. See the difference? Words matter. I want to address the food situation because this is a health hazard in disguise. In 2026, airline catering is moving toward shelf-stable efficiency. Sodium levels in economy meals are astronomical. Why? Because at altitude, your taste buds lose sensitivity, so they pack the food with salt to make it taste like something. For a 20-year-old, that's just thirst. For a 70-year-old with hypertension, that's a spike in blood pressure combined with the lower oxygen levels of the cabin. It's a recipe for swelling, discomfort, or worse. The new rule, BYF, bring your own food. But be careful if you are flying internationally. The agricultural scanning technology is getting scary good. Beagles are old school. They now use molecular sniffers in baggage claim. If you bring a piece of fruit off the plane that you didn't eat, an apple you saved from the meal service, or a banana you brought from home, and you cross into a country like Australia, New Zealand, or even back into the US, you can be fined instantly. I saw a lady get hit with a $500 fine for a half-eaten apple in her purse. She forgot it was there. The scanner didn't rule. Eat it on the plane or leave it on the plane. Do not take fresh food off the aircraft, ever. Let's go deeper into the app trap. Airlines are moving towards dynamic notification systems. This means they stop making gate announcements. Have you noticed how quiet airports are getting? It's called silent terminal policy. If you are sitting at the gate waiting for them to call, Zone 4, you might be waiting forever. They might just post boarding on the screen and send a push notification to your phone. If you are reading a book and not looking at the screen, and you don't have the app, the plane leaves. I have closed the door on passengers who were sitting 50 feet away. They were waiting for a loudspeaker announcement that never came. You must, absolutely must, have the airline's app on your phone, and you must have notifications turned on. If you aren't tech-savvy, this is the time to ask a grandkid to set it up for you. Or, set an alarm on your watch for 45 minutes before departure to go stand at the podium. Do not rely on your ears. Rely on your eyes. Now, I want to talk about travel insurance. But not the kind you buy with the ticket. The little box that says, "Protect your trip for $49." During checkout, it is often garbage. It has so many exclusions it looks like Swiss cheese. For travelers over 65, the pre-existing condition clause is the enemy. If you have high blood pressure and you have a flare-up that cancels your trip, generic insurance will deny the claim because it's a pre-existing condition. You need to look for third-party insurance that specifically includes a waiver of pre-existing conditions. You usually have to buy this within 14 days of your first trip deposit. If you wait until a week before the trip, You can't get this coverage. And here is a 2026 update on insurance. Trip delay coverage is becoming more vital than trip cancellation. Why? Because flight cancellations are down, but 24-hour delays are up. Staff shortages mean if a pilot times out, there is no replacement. You are stuck overnight. Airlines will give you a distressed passenger rate at a hotel, which basically means you pay $100 instead of $150. But with good insurance, you book the hotel you want, you order room service, you take an Uber, and you get reimbursed. Don't sleep on the airport floor. You are too old for that, and frankly, so am I. I want to leave you with a thought about the art of the upgrade. It used to be that you could dress nice, smile, and maybe get bumped up. Those days are gone. Computers do the upgrades now based on status and fare class. However, there is a new Piatgate dynamic. Airlines are aggressive about monetizing empty first-class seats right up until the door closes. If you check your app 60 minutes before the flight, you might see an offer to upgrade for $75 or $100. They drop the price as the clock ticks down. I've seen people pay $500 for an upgrade online the day before, and the guy next to them paid $79 at the gate. If you have a little flexibility in your budget, keep your eye on the app once you are through security. That last-minute offer is often cheaper than checking 2 bags and buying a meal. Plus, you get off the plane first. Flying after 65 doesn't have to be a nightmare. It can be the best time of your life. You have the time, you have the wisdom, and hopefully, you have the desire to see the world. But the airport environment has changed. It is colder, it is more automated, it is less forgiving of mistakes. The system is designed to process you like data, not treat you like a guest. But you are not data, you are a passenger. And if you follow these rules, if you digitize your ID, manage your batteries, speak the language of assistive devices, and refuse to be bullied by the technology, you can glide through those terminals like a ghost. Don't let the new rules ground you. Adapt, prepare, and fly. If this video saved you from even one headache on your next trip, do me a favor. Share it with your travel buddy. Send it to your sister who is planning that cruise. Let's make sure none of us get left crying at the gate. I'm Benny. Wheels up, and I'll see you in the next one.